After 3 years of upward movement in Bitcoin, the monthly MACD has given its first bearish signal. And why didn't Bitcoin follow the global liquidity M2 in this time? Today, let's examine the data more closely and see will a deeper drop in Bitcoin force MicroStrategy shareholders to pressure the company into the liquidating its Bitcoin holdings. Hey everyone, thank you for jumping back into the Crypto Ods. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can see that on the monthly time frame, the MACD has issued its second consecutive red bearish signal, and we have already taken a bearish crossover on our MACD. Even the RSI is confirmed our downtrend. Many people say that the quantitative tightening has come to an end and they will have a rate cut in this month. Yes, of course, we have 90% chance to get a 20% basis point, 25 basis point rate cut in this month. But if you look at the past, we had rate cuts in September and October in this year. Yet the market had already priced them in. Like this time, the market priced that. On top of that, if you look at the Federal Reserve balance sheet, this time I add that to my Bitcoin chart. This below line is Federal Reserve balance sheet. Every time the quantitative tightening has come to an end, like this time, the COVID situation, the market has gone through a deeper correction. You see, at this level, the Federal Reserve ends the quantitative tightening and the market starts to drop more and bleed it. Just like in 2019 and 2020. And at this point, we have an even bigger problem, the Bank of Japan. In their recent speech, they said as long as they haven't reached their targets, they will continue rising interest rates. Japan is currently the large holder of the US Treasury bond with roughly 1.1 or 1.2 trillion dollar worth of US debt. If the Bank of Japan change their policies, and this shift has already been confirmed right now and will be happen very soon, then the Federal Reserve's monetary policy will not be able to stop the market declines. Why? You ask that why the Federal Reserve can't stop that? Because most traders and institutions borrow money from the Japan banks at the near zero interest rates. Now they must repay those loans before the interest becomes too expensive, and they cannot simply borrow again at the high rates currently present in the US to offset those losses. This forced them to sell their equities, and as a result, markets being to experience deeper and more aggressive declines. If you look at the S&P 500 and overlay the M2 Global Liquidity Index, on top of that I added the Bitcoin chart in my S&P ones, you can see that the roughly 3 or 4 months before global liquidity begins to decline, Bitcoin starts correcting or enters the bear market. You see, 92 days before global index drops, the Bitcoin goes to bear market. And similarly, at this situation, 3 or 4 months after global liquidity, here 3 or 4 months, 153 days after global liquidity begins to rise, Bitcoin starts its up movement again. Bitcoin moves up or down with a several months delay compared to global liquidity. We have now seen 2 months of declines in Bitcoin, while global liquidity during these 2 months has slightly decreased, or more precisely, and Bitcoin reacts to this earlier than the stock market does. The stock market shows a strong correlation with the global liquidity M2, while Bitcoin front-runs the liquidity. In 2024, the end of the 2024, when global liquidity was rising rapidly, ETFs and MicroStrategy were making significant purchases. But in 2025, these purchases have become smaller and smaller. At this point, MicroStrategy's buying has either stopped or become very minimal. You can see the pink one shows the MicroStrategy purchases. It's flattening right now, remain at the same level. And ETFs are seeing heavily outflows. And Kyungju says that about the MicroStrategy, if Bitcoin price drops and investors pressure MicroStrategy to sell, then selling below the 1 multiply MNAV level might be profitable for shareholders in the short term, but in the long term it would push Bitcoin's price even lower and put even more pressure on MicroStrategy. This could send the company into the death spiral. Bitcoin drops, they are forced to sell, and the price drops further, and they must sell even more. This death spiral would continue and create a sharp downward cycle. I wish you the best. Peace out.